What made you decide you wanted to be the first person to climb Niagara Falls?
Well, it's Niagara Falls. It's the largest, wildest, most iconic waterfall of the world. You know, if you're an ice climber, the idea of climbing Niagara Falls sounds just great, mostly.
Mostly? I mean, what are the biggest obstacles to it? What's the toughest thing about it?
Well, there's a few things that are really hard about it that aren't normal. First of all, there's 8,000 cubic feet a second of water ripping off the edge of that waterfall. So that's like 4,000 semi-trucks going off every second.
Wow.
And if you got in the way of that, it would obviously not work out well, you know. And then it's the oldest state park in the United States, and it's an icon.
The route you climbed, I understand it started over an area that you call the Cauldron of Doom. That does not sound like a good start.
No, the Cauldron of Doom that would be a very bad place if you wound up in there. All that water from Niagara Falls is just smashing down, and it's like the world's largest cement mixer or something. And if you went into the Cauldron of Doom, that would not be good. So definitely before I started climbing, we had to make really sure that I would not fall into the Cauldron of Doom. And as my mom said, hang on tight when I was climbing in there.
That's your mom's advice. That's wise advice from her. And I understand the ice that you're climbing, it's not actually all ice, right? I mean, what is it?
It's kind of like meringue. What happens is all that spray from Niagara Falls floats out and then sticks onto the icy rock wall right behind there. And it's kind of like climbing frozen clouds. And then there's obviously the water, direct water as well. And it all comes together in this really volatile mixture. And you've got to be pretty careful climbing it because it's not as stable as a normal sort of waterfall is when it's frozen. And yeah, it was pretty exciting. You whack it occasionally, and big chunks are coming off. You know,
that sounds
it
terrifying.
gets your attention.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, also, are you completely wet during all this? Because you're really close to the falls.
Yeah, you know, it is scary actually, because it's the only place I've ever been where you can feel the earth shake from the force of the falls. Like you can feel it in your guts. It's so loud. And then look over my shoulder, and there's Niagara Falls, absolutely ripping by. And the water switched a little bit at one point, and I got a big couple of buckets of Niagara Falls water down my neck, and it's cold to begin with, and you put some water into it, and it's one of those environments where you want to keep your mind very, very focused for sure.
And I mean, sometimes you put in your axe, and we just saw some video where the ice just falls away.
Yeah, that's part of that is cleaning it. You've got to knock off the loose bits, but some of the pieces I was knocking off were a lot larger than I planned on. And they can knock your feet out as well, and then you're going to go the distance. But it is important to note that I've got a rope on here, so I'm still going to fall quite a ways if I do fall. But the whole idea here is to be able to do this another day. And we had to convince the Park Service that this wasn't a stunt like going over the falls in a barrel. And in the end, they gave us their wholehearted support. You know, it was just great to work with them. But this is what I do. I've been doing it for 30 years and started ice climbing with my dad. So it's definitely not a one-off stunt. Well, climbing Niagara Falls is. I don't think anybody's going to get to do that again.
Yeah. What's the feeling like when, I mean, I just saw in the video you standing essentially on the edge after having completed this climb. Even standing on the edge makes my knees, even watching you stand on the edge like that makes my knees shake. What is that feeling like? I mean, is it just complete exhilaration, exhaustion? Are you just freezing cold? Are you totally like adrenaline pumping? What is it?
Probably a little bit of all of those emotions, but that's a wild place to be, to stand right on the edge of Niagara Falls and look at all that water. You know, it's one of the natural wonders of the world. That is one amazing place, and just to feel all that power and look down at the ice below and just experience that place in a way that very few people get to. I felt very, very lucky to be there, and one of the highlights of my life for sure.